I know. A car like this should really be parked in front of an opera house instead of in the midst of nature. But I was in front of an opera house today and it was 36 degrees Celsius in the summer, far too hot for recording. So we came here where it's a pleasant 22. And you know what? Actually, this car fits into the nature.
It fits, like this classic music fits it. The 5th generation. 10th. Okay, both. In 1993, Mercedes began calling this car segment with the letter E, even though they've been making them since 1953. All of them were technologically advanced, while this one is also advanced in its shapes. My national pride simply doesn't allow me to fail and mention the car was also partly designed by a Slovene. The front end is aggressive, especially the LED headlights, which have a rather interesting signature. The car was clad in the AMG package, which will cost you 2,500 euros, for which you get a larger front bumper, 19-inch alloys and very wide rear tires, which have 275mm and look great. Don't waste time looking for the Mercedes star on the bonnet, as it has been moved to the nose, under which is also the radar. The rear reminds me of the bigger S. It's wide and high, although it's merely an optical illusion, as the car is only a smidge taller than the older E.
So what's typical of a Mercedes car? Of course, the Mercedes badge, but also a very long bonnet, so you can have a lot of horses hiding underneath. Now, when we go to the back, it's got a fairly short rear, but also these curves at the back, which means that it's very good in aerodynamics.
The taillights are intriguing, as they give the impression of being sprinkled with tiny diamonds. Their task is to disperse the light, which gives the car a very distinct and unique look. The interior of the test model was wrapped in leather and Alcantara. The front AMG sporty seats are very supportive in the corners, but they also have an interesting feature, a small ridge in the center which, especially in the summer, helps in keeping the passengers cool. The dual display on the dashboard is an optional extra, but it is definitely one of the more distinct features and one of the largest in the industry. It might not look the best on pictures, but when you're actually sitting in the car, it's something else. Offering a plethora of information, the instruments can be customized. Retro, classic, or futuristic styles are all available. The navigation is somewhat sluggish, perhaps because of the high resolution, but it makes up for it with customizability and real estate. You'll be able to listen to your favorite music via USB, SD cards, or Bluetooth, while everything will be controlled with the rotating button on the center console. If you find that too old-fashioned, the car also offers a touch-sensitive surface with which you can control the menus. As far as I'm concerned, the rotating button is still the best. The steering wheel sports physical as well as touch-sensitive buttons. The dashboard is both different and very sporty because of the interesting air vents. There's also fully customizable ambient lighting, which adds a bit of elegance. Rather excellent is also the Burmester audio system, which has two versions. The cheaper option costs just over 1,000 euros, while the other one 6,700 euros.
I wonder how much space there is in the back. The answer is a whole lot. We put all of our equipment in here and there's still space for a rather very large piece of luggage. I drive all sorts of cars. I drive expensive cars, I drive cheap cars, I test luxurious cars and those that are more basic. And then I start asking myself, I drive something like this, a Mercedes E-Class, why would you buy, this is 47,000 thereabouts, why would you buy an SUV that's also going to be about 40,000 euros instead of this? The SUV is going to have more consumption, it's going to cost more in the long run, it's not going to be as comfortable or even as practical as this car. You don't have to be a millionaire to afford a Mercedes E-Class. So why wouldn't you buy this? And I really like the fusion of futurism and classic style in this car. The futurism is, for example, these two extremely large displays for the instrument cluster and for the navigation, for the infotainment screen. And on the other hand, you've got all these air vents, which are very sort of classic, but very nicely detailed, and you have almost a feeling that as if they were handmade. It's very nice.
Alright, when I configured an E-Class with roughly the same equipment as the test model, the price did jump over 66,000. Luxury definitely has a price, although I'm still certain you're getting much more car than if you chose an SUV. The test car was powered by a 4-cylinder, 143 kilowatt or 194 horsepower engine. It was similar to the Skoda Superb one, which I tested a while ago. The E-Class does have 9 gears though. The beauty of this is when you're cruising down a highway at 140 kilometers per hour and the engine turns at a leisurely 1600 RPM. Consumption hovered around 6.4 liters per 100 kilometers, although you could get it lower than that. The number is certainly not going to touch the 4.7 liters as it's specified in the catalogs. Price? High, perhaps, but it is a Mercedes. Although you can put together quite a nice E for about 60,000. The base model starts at 46,000 euros. If you'd rather have an AMG, well, you better sit down first. The price starts at 154,000 for the less powerful version over here, unless you live in Germany, where that comes down to 121,000. Ah, I love taxes.